Now this is the story of a flying crew, and where they flew to no one knew. They had a new camera out to test and flew their aircraft into the west. Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
When he got back as tired as hell, he had to know what the test would tell. But lo and behold, the luck was shag, for there on the lanes was a dirty old rag, Big John. They stood in silence, their faces wan, for they knew that John was a big bad man. For a moment they thought he'd blow his top, but he held his temper and covered the flop, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
Then there was the day that the film tore, and the processing crew they shivered and swore, Big John. For when the aircraft landed with John's return, he'd break their hearts and their souls he'd burn, Big John. He hit the section just after tea and said to Ven, "You're the CID, Big John." And Ven he knew he had to win, for to let John down was a mortal sin, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
Now Ven searched the section through and through, and at last he nailed the drying crew, Big John. And he reported to his big bad boss, "John just shot them, they were no loss, Big John."
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
Now John had been boss for a long time and made his section toe the line, Big John. But Mexican Pete, a bit of a clown, thought he'd draw John out and gun him down, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
When the showdown came in the studio, Mexican Pete was far too slow, Big John. John had him beat and on his knees and sent back to his switches and keys, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
The tale I tell is the real truth. One evening they landed at Waterkloof, Big John. They packed their kit and made for the gate, but were stopped by Sputnik, put there by fate, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
The Sputnik was as bold as brass, for he jumped their cars saying, "Where's your pass, Big John?" Now John didn't like his swaggering walk and told the Sputty, "I've no time to talk, Big John."
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
But if you over at CPE ask for Big Bad John, that's what they call me, Big John. When Sputty heard this, he shivered with shame, and his heart turned cold at that terrible name, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
Then he rushed to the gate, let them out of there, and fell on his knees and said a prayer, Big John. For he knew that death had passed him by, for Big Bad John be a rough, tough guy, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big John.
There was a day when they reached their zone and the land was bare and dry as a bone, Big John. They lined up a strip but only to find that Fritz had left the controls behind, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John,
Big John.
So Dick said to John, now what'll we do? For without controls he knew they were through, Big John. But John looked out on the starboard side and saw a bush and smiled with pride, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John,
Big John.
Without a map or control he flew and amazed the pilots by what he knew, Big John. He covered the area by memory. He remembered that bush from 43, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John,
Big John.
If you pass our section any old night, you'll find our lights still burning bright, Big John. Yes, the films are in, can upon can, and we're working for John. He's a big bad man, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John,
Big John.
Then for months they toiled and the weather was fine, and everyone thought it was the end of the line for Big John. But though he was shot through work and strain, he boarded his deck and flew again, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John,
Big John.
So John works on and we wonder why he spends half his life way up in the sky, Big John. For he cannot stop, now you'll understand, he also has a boss, he's the big black man, Big John.
Big John, Big John,
Big Bad John.
Big Bad John.